insurance company is all about trying to understand the growth, the dimensions, the perspectives, mostly from the insurance factors, that is from the revenues as well as from the various financial instruments. So in case if there is something going to happen, the insurance should come as a backup and help the people against any sort of accidents or uncertainty that is looming in the mind. 75% of population in India does not have an insurance. Good morning and welcome to the session 6 of Principles and Practice of General Insurance. In this session, we are going to talk about the organization and management of insurance companies. Now, this is a very important chapter for each one of us. Why? Because we are going to talk about the structural practice of the insurance company. So moving forward, insurance company earns revenue from premiums as well as the investment of those premiums in various financial instruments and markets. Now, for most of us, if we try to understand what an insurance company is all about, insurance company is all about trying to understand the growth, the dimensions, the perspectives, mostly from the insurance factors, that is from the revenues as well as from the various financial instruments that they are involved. So they collect the premiums and they put the premiums back into the market in terms of investment. So that's a very important factor that we need to understand altogether. Followed by, insurance can be purchased by individuals for life, health, property and liability losses. That's why the insurance companies always go back, emphasize to the people, saying very clearly as in what they need to do, how they need to do it in terms of the business. So most of the insurance company make it a point that they go back and tell the people very clearly what are the terms and conditions that are involved in terms of the insurance factor altogether. Now, most of the corporations will purchase insurance to cover the liability, property, business, executive health and life risk. So both when you look into the aspects of the life insurance as well as the general insurance, these are the people who will try to make money out of the premiums, and whatever premium is being collected from them will be utilized back into the market in the form of investment. So they'll put that money back in the form of investment, and that investment will again generate returns to them in the long term altogether. Now, moving forward, the functions of insurance. There are three types of functions which we are going to look in today. The first one being the primary function, the secondary functions and the other functions altogether. So these are now going to be the challenges that we are going to understand. Now, what is a primary function altogether? Primary function of an insurance company is providing protection. The elementary purpose of insurance is to allow the security against future risk, accidents and uncertainty. So this is a very important concept, and this needs to be understood very clearly by each one of us. Why? Because if you look here, the primary aspect of the people is that they have to provide protection to the people. They have to provide a sort of security against the risk. So most of the insurance companies' primary job is to provide a secure future in case of any untoward incident that happens in their life. So that is why they say that insurance is to allow security against the future risk. So in case if there is something going to happen, the insurance should come as a backup and help the people against any sort of accidents or uncertainty that is looming in the mind. Now, collective risk bearing. Insurance is an instrument to share the financial loss. Now, that is where they form a very important aspect altogether. Now, for example, you are running a business and suddenly there is a fire breakout in your industrial premises. So the loss that is going to happen because of the fire breakout has to be managed somewhere. That's where the insurance companies come into picture. They provide you insurance so that you are able to bear the financial loss altogether. So that's a very, very important thought process that comes into the mind of the people. It is a medium through which you see few losses are divided among the large number of people. Now, that is very, very important for each one of us to understand here. Why? Because that's an instrument which is actually going to use in terms of understanding how the insurance can go forward, how the insurance can take care in case of any of this changes or any of the untoward incidents happening. So any few losses that is going to happen can be divided among large number of people. That collective fund can be used to recoup back the business. Now, what are the factors that evaluate the risk altogether? So they also use evaluating tools and components which are being used by the insurance company to assess the diverse factors that give rise to risk. So it is very, very important for each one of them to undergo this session and undergo the factors saying that to evaluate the risk, what are the risk factors that are involved, why is that business, the nature of the business, and what is the volume of the risk that is involved in each and every business. Now, to provide certainty, so insurance will definitely provide a certainty, a secured feature to every single business, stating that even during the times of any uncertainty, we are there to back you up, we are there to provide you any sort of moral financial support so that your business does not come back to a standstill position. So the job of the insurance from a primary ideology is to provide protection for the ongoing life and business, to have a collective risk bearing which is shared among so many people, and they evaluate the nature and risk of every single business that is available, followed by they provide a certainty to every kind of business that is existing so that the business does not come to any sort of diversions altogether. Now, moving forward. Now, secondary functions. This is very, very important. What are the secondary functions that we are going to talk about? We are going to talk about preventing losses. We are going to talk about covering of larger risks with small capital, and it helps in the development of the industrial factors altogether. So preventing losses, this is very, very important. Why? Because insurance wants the individuals and businessmen to embrace appropriate devices and the methodology so that they can stop the risk factor and absorb the correct method in order to take care of the business. So what the insurance companies will always do is that they will educate the business owners, the managers, the leaders, what are all the right and ethical practices and preventive methods that needs to be followed in your business so that you don't land up in risk, you don't land up in trouble. So they are basically like an alarm bell which tries to educate the company, talking about the future risk that is involved in every scenario. So it is very, very important for all these people to understand the nature of the business, the nature of the entity altogether. Now, covering of large risk with small capital. Insurance makes every businessman into a secured investment. They say that this can be done by paying small amount of premium so that in the long run, if there is going to be a loss, if there is going to be a scenario altogether, we are there to back you out. We are there to help you in that scenario, in that case altogether. So that is why it becomes very, very important for all of us to understand the nature of the business. Now, it helps in the development of large industries altogether. So that is very, very important for all of us, because insurance provides an opportunity to develop those large industries. Yes, they are very, very important, and they help us in providing us more risk in setting it up, because these are the sectors which I would like to reiterate, that I would like to tell again and again, because they help in the development of those larger industries. They provide an opportunity opportunity to develop those larger industries which have more risk in setting them up. And it's very, very important and essential what I'm talking about. Why? Because if you look at the insurance sector altogether here, the insurance provides a complete opportunity. They provide a complete package altogether in which they help them. They say that how the industries can develop, how the industries can look forward altogether. So this is a very, very important stream. They actually provide a vision. They actually provide a guide how to build the industry and how to take it forward. Now, to the next slide, we will be seeing about the tertiary functions. In this, it is actually a savings and investment tool. Why I am saying this to you is that most of the time we do not know how insurance actually plays in the market. Insurance have got several beautiful schemes through which you can invest in the market, through which you can actually make money in the market. You can actually invest it in several secured schemes like the unit-linked plans, through which it can give you a better investment option. So I would always say it is a savings and an investment tool altogether. It is a medium of foreign exchange. Why? Because if you look at any of the business, that business might have offices in the foreign, and there might be a lot of multinational companies who would like to invest in insurance business altogether, or invest in the insurance for a security for themselves. So in those manners, it is very, very important that all these factors actually gives you an opportunity to earn that foreign exchange altogether. Similarly, it is a risk-free trade factor that comes into picture. Why it is a risk-free or a trade factor? Because insurance will boost the exports out of a country. It will actually help you to create a situation where you can go forward and you can look into the different types of policies that can give you the promotion for the exporters to increase their potential, and then can give them a better coverage and also value proportion to them. So insurance provides the indemnity or reinvestment in case of any untoward incident. So I would say that insurance is definitely a very, very progressive sector, a very, very important sector that can give a great amount of security to the people who are involved in this. Now, going forward, we are going to talk about the current scenario. In the current scenario, I'm going to talk about how is the insurance sector that is developing altogether. Now, if you look into the insurance sector here, it is growing at an annual rate of 15 to 20%, which means it's providing us a very, very good opportunity of growth. 75% of population in India does not have an insurance, which means to say that insurance marketing companies have a huge potential to go forward and start looking into it as an opportunity of growth, and it adds to 7% of India's GDP. Now you're talking about a country which is having a 3 trillion GDP, which means to say that it can go forward and you can add value here. This is going to be a big add to the GDP factor altogether. So I would definitely say that insurance is one sector that can provide a huge potential altogether in terms of growth. Followed by, now, we are also going to look into the activities of insurance. The activities of insurance include the actuary, the agency, legal, finance, advertising, medical, accounting, and the underwriting procedures altogether. So these are some of the most important functions that we can talk about in terms of the factors of the insurance. So what we are looking here is that actuary is the real business through which they will do the calculation, evaluation of that. Agency business, you can look in for franchisee, you can look in for growth in terms of insurance. There's a lot of legal procedure that is involved in insurance, of understanding the policy, understanding the terms, the methodologies altogether. From a finance perspective, you need to manage that huge corpus of funds that come in. Advertising and marketing, you have to reach the people, tell them about your policies. So that is also quite interesting. Medical, which is a very, very important field when it comes to insurance, followed by accounting, which is a very, very important field again, because you need to account for each and every rupee that comes inside, followed by underwriting business. Now, underwriting is the most important and essential factor that comes inside this business, because underwriters are the people who are going to process your claims, who are going to process each and every activity that happens inside your business. So this is going to be something very, very fantastic and an exciting journey, where you see so much amount of verticals, so many verticals are involved, and all these verticals combine to make the insurance even more an interesting field of opportunity. Now, moving forward, the other functions that involve is the engineering. Now, you might ask me, where is engineering suddenly coming? This engineering is statistical based engineering, which means we are going to look into the various administrative factors. We are going to look into the various numericals and the technical factors that are involved in the insurance business, followed by statistical view. You need a lot of statisticians who will try to understand the mortgage rate, who will try to understand the various numbers and factors that are involved, and the administrative properties, which are also very, very important. Why? Because the administrators are very, very needed in terms of managing the business and taking it forward. Followed by, we would also understand how this entire insurance sector is made of. Thank you for joining me on this wonderful session. I believe that the session was highly interesting, helpful, and useful to you in terms of understanding the organization and its structure. In the coming sessions, we would be talking about what are the different factors that are governing this general insurance in terms of creating such a large and diversified organization. So thank you once again for joining me on this wonderful session today.